This is the Post Taste, and I am your host, John. Today we're taking a look at the Corolla Concept from Toyota from the Tokyo Motor Show. Let's take a look. What in the...
3 vomits later.
So, let's talk about this exterior. Not what I expected, to say the least. It's interesting. I think it'll be striking on the road. Do I like it? No. Nope, I don't. It looks like it was built out of Lego. Like, it looks like some people took a bunch of spare parts. It doesn't look human design to me. It looks like maybe an AI design. The front end, I think, is striking. It looks like a sports car almost, which is super weird for a Corolla. But if you just looked at the front end, you'd go like, wow, what's this? It's kind of cool looking. It's got some fun LEDs. But then the rest of the design doesn't flow in any way. There's no consistent lines. And when you get to the side profile, it looks like the Corolla had a stroke. I mean, I don't know what in the Bell's palsy is happening near the mirror and the window, but maybe it's for visibility. Maybe the designer wanted to give the Corolla a wandering eye. I don't. It's very confusing to me. And I guess maybe from inside, if the belt line's super high, it helps to have it dip down. But it just doesn't look good. And then when you get to the back end, I like that it has those strong shoulders that it has. It's kind of fun. I still think it's not connected, but it's interesting. But a perfectly straight on back end shot, it looks like a brick. I mean, it's just super heavy. And the taillight design is interesting. I think that's kind of fun, especially for a car in this price range. But the rest of it, especially what I find so confusing is at certain angles, it looks really interesting and looks like it could be a really cool look. And then you move a little bit to another angle in the car and it just looks like a complete mess. And I think that's what I mean. There's no line that connects the front to the back. The wheels are kind of cool looking, I'll give it that. But I just find it overall confusing. And I know a lot of this stuff is not going to make it to production, especially like the long windshield going into the hood and probably a lot of the interior stuff, but still super confusing. So to talk about the interior, I think there's some cool things in here. I think one of the biggest complaints I have about Toyota vehicles is the interiors look cheap to me, and this doesn't look cheap. The materials look nice. I think the warm palette, the soft tones look really good. I think the orange LEDs is a really smart choice. I think half of the cars out on the road right now, the interiors have those bright blue LEDs, which makes it look like Dexter's Kill Room. This looks much warmer and much more inviting. The big weird stock thing coming out by the dash in the front is weird to me. I don't know if you're supposed to sit backwards on that thing as another seat. Is it a bidet? Is it a vibrator? What am I looking at? And then it has this weird crystal thing on it that you're supposed to know how to shift the vehicle, I think, into drive or neutral. I'm waiting to see the three seashells from Demolition Man on there somewhere. That stuff's all weird. The seats are cool. I like the fact that the seats are actually two different style seats. I think that's not going to make it to production because of cost, but I think it's a really cool idea is that the passenger seat probably doesn't have the same needs as the driver's seat. You want to hold the driver in a little better. So it's cool to actually have an asymmetrical design on that. I think it's cool little touches like the seatbelts even being blacked out. The rear seat doesn't look like the most comfortable to me, but it's very airy and it looks like the visibility from the entire interior of the car is nice. And I also like that they cut down on screens. It feels like the screens are smaller and aren't the primary focus. It's not just one massive screen. So overall I do like the interior. So probably the most interesting thing about this vehicle to me is kind of what they talked about afterwards, not the vehicle itself, but sort of their new hybrid systems. And they were talking about in this car having actually a gas hybrid and electric version. And the hybrid engine is what sounds super interesting to me because they're talking about going to a two-motor system. And the power would be split between the front and the rear, and they could control those motors separately, which I think would really improve how these cars drive. And not to mention, theoretically, you could even, have a rear-wheel drive car in a fairly cheap subcompact class, which would be great. So we'll see. I think this is a very important car for Toyota because of the class it's in. They don't make the Prius C anymore, and the Camry isn't super expensive, but I think this car is obviously a massive volume seller for them. So this two motor hybrid system, I think one of the big things is I think it might make it more fun to drive, which I think right now Toyota really beats out Honda on efficiency, but they definitely don't beat them out on how they drive and the dynamics and how fun it is to drive. So I think putting a new system in this car could really sway people no matter what it looks like. So we'll see, but I think that to me is the most exciting part of this next version of the Corolla. On a whole, I really am confused by Toyota's design language right now. I feel like you have a lot of disparate design within the lineup, and they have a huge lineup which might lend to that. You have the Corolla, which I think needs an update, even though I think the current one looks pretty good, but the Prius and the Camry are much more in line with each other now. You have some of their trucks like the Tacoma and the 4Runner, which look like each other, but I'm not so totally sold on those designs either. The fenders are so high, it looks to me like they're pulling up their pant legs to walk through water or something. It's like they're kind of on stilts. They're a little tall. And then you have the BZ4X GYZQ that looks super futuristic. And, you have these other models that they're now concepting. And some of the new Lexus looks fantastic. And same thing with the FJ, which of course we're not getting. So, those, it looks like you had very different design teams on these, and they're not all created equal. So it looks like you had the A team on this and the ASS team on this. A team, ASS team, A team, S team. So, I hope they bring their design language all kind of in line a little more, and whoever's doing the Lexus, maybe get them on it. Maybe have them talk to the other guys. So, hey everyone, I hope this brought some value. I hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe. I'm still collecting people to be entombed with me in a pyramid. So the more people that like and subscribe, the more I can bring with me to the afterlife. So thanks for watching. I'm John. This is the Post Haze.
In Japanese, Corolla roughly translates to blind designer. It looks like Megatron has spina bifida. Were Toyota designers using their non-dominant hand? It looks like Toyota gave the Corolla scoliosis. For those who don't know, Corolla means the petals of a flower, forming a whorl around the reproductive organs. So in this case, they went less flower and more reproductive organs. She's that girl from that place and stuff. It sounds like a tropical area.